Hi, friends. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm Jaqui, and I'm coming to you from First Congregational Church United Church of Christ in Corvallis, Oregon. And I'm glad that you are here with me and sharing time. Before we do anything, I would like to take a moment to pause. And that's what this lesson is about. Taking a pause or a retreat or a rest. I put my hands here, and I always say this, but it's really true. I feel like sometimes I need help holding myself down and just stopping. Take some deep breaths with me, and please repeat what I say if you'd like. You can join in with me, actually. I am breathing in God's love. I am a beloved child of God, and I can share God's love with the world right here around me. And I start by loving my sweet dog, Pearl, who is chewing a bone. I have a candle in a special candle holder to remind me of God's presence, God's light with me. I am not alone, and you are not alone. Today, I have a Bible story from the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. And really, what this is about, this is the first Sunday of Lent. It will be this Sunday, the first Sunday of Lent. Lent lasts 40 days in the church calendar, and this story is really the background for Lent. I have a new understanding of Lent this year, and it's based on this story. A new way I've come to look at this story. So this story comes from Jesus, who takes a break from his life, and he went out into a wilderness, and he went without food and water for 40 days, it says in the Bible, and he was really hungry, really thirsty. He was really focusing on his ministry and listening for God's direction. So sometimes, like that, we can take away distractions in our own lives and focus on what matters. And that's my understanding of what Lent is about. It's taking away some distractions that we may have become really familiar with. For me, maybe I like to distract myself with television shows sometimes when I'm really tired, or listening to a radio podcast, or eating chocolate or cheese. And I've kind of taken a pause on some foods for myself to feel healthier. But this is a time, Lent, this time that Jesus spent in the wilderness, 40 days. He went without food and water. He got really clear on what God's message for him and for his teaching was. And he stayed really clear with that message while he was in the wilderness for 40 days without food and water. So, friends, I am going to do two things. One is lead us through each Sunday in Lent. I have a guided meditation. So we are going to be today in our forest family. And you can listen, you can do what it says, you can see what you notice. But imagine being in a wilderness where you aren't distracted by phone calls or email messages or siblings or the good smells that might be coming from your kitchen. Forest family, stretching to, I can't read it backward. Stretching to the warm sunlight, you are surrounded by all who love you. This is the card. I'll hold it up while I read the back. Okay, can you see it? Take a few moments to get comfortable. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Look at this picture, and you can close your eyes if you'd like. Imagine you are part of a mighty tree family. You are one of the kind kings and queens of the forest. Your feet are like roots in the moist soil beneath you. You grip the earth with your long toes. Your trunk body is thick and rough. Your arms become the branches that stretch into the open sky above you. You have so many questions for the wise old trees. Why do birds like to sit on the skinniest twigs? How does the squirrel leap from branch to branch? You breathe in and out. Slowly, you start to hear the answers whispered from the older trees. What do they say? Keep going with this. What other questions do you have for the older trees? How many rings are within the body of your trunk? Times I feel like I'm closer to God when I'm in the forest and just listening to the sounds of nature. Maybe you feel that too. You can always take a break for yourself and get outside and listen. I have some questions about the story. We're in the season of Lent, and Lent is like taking a break, just like Jesus did in the time he spent in the wilderness. He wanted to be alone for that time. And I'm curious about whether you have had a time where you prepared for something and you practiced or spent time alone doing something to get good at it. Some of you might be musicians, and some of you might like to read, like in Battle of the Books, and you might practice questions and answers for that. You might practice a sport like swimming or gymnastics. I have been practicing harp, and it's been going well, but it's also been very challenging for me. And I know exactly why it's challenging. My two hands are working together using different clefs, like in piano, and that's very hard for me. So I practice at home, but when I go to my lesson with my teacher, my brain freezes sometimes. So you might feel like that too. I am going to take a leap here and practice a song in front of you. See how this goes. I'm hoping that eventually I get good enough that I can feel calm while I play harp instead of agitated and frustrated. So I'm working on it with your help. We'll see. Not too bad. I'm still working on it, and my brain still panics because I know that somebody is watching that and I messed up. But I'm still practicing. I'm still in my wilderness practicing that and feeling closer to God when I realize that I'm doing something, taking a pause, taking a rest like Jesus did during this time. And I encourage you to take a rest, take a break, take a pause during this time of Lent along with me. Thank you for being with me, friends. Take some deep breaths together before we go back into our lives. Lots of love in and lots of love out.